Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. And we will move to our real estate division report. And Mr. Rass, please.
Thank you, Chair, through you to the committee. The real estate report is found on page 44. And it's just information item one. It's a very short report. It's just an update. Status of the projects. Of course, again, the main activity down at County Base. So we have the paramedic shelters were about 80% complete, anticipated by the end of the month. That shelter will be at 100% completion. In addition to the asphalt paving in front of the shelter, we anticipate that to be also completed at the end of October as well. Regarding the roof and HVAC equipment, we anticipate that was to start at the hopefully anticipate again in October. However, there's contractor ones that versus they have a bit of a backlog. So weather permitting, and we'll kind of monitor that over the next couple of weeks, if we're able to complete the roofing projects before the end of November, we'll proceed with that this year. And if not, we'll make that decision and postpone it and carry it over till spring. And just see a couple of the other projects there, the smaller projects as well. We anticipated getting them done at the end of the month. So I can share that with this my report.
Thank you, Mr. Raditz. So just in regards to the real estate report 2023 capital and capital under threshold projects, are there any questions or comments? Oh, word.
Here, we'll use up all your time. Through you, the Renfrew shelter. So I see another flat concrete base there. Is there another shelter being built on that? That we're just waiting for cement here? Is that how I understand it?
Thank you for that question, Lord, and straight through you, Chair. So we poured this second slab with the anticipation of building the second shelter next year. Okay. Initially this year we had budgeted for 2 shelters. Of course, the 2 shelters came in over budget. So given that we were doing the prep work, the second slab was installed. Anticipated the remainder of the shelter will be built.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Mr. Raditz. And we will move on to the planning division report and Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Chair. The planning report can be found in the committee package starting on page 46. The first couple of information items are actually with regards to the Deep River, since they are hosting us today. It's just a couple of official plan amendments that were approved. The first one was official plan amendment number 4, and this was an official plan amendment that was initiated by the town to enact and implement some of the changes resulting from the provincial bills 109 and its portions of the referrals to bill 23. And there's a summary there with regards to a number of the key changes made through that amendment. Item number 2, again, official plan amendment for Town of Deep River, OPA number 5. This was another town initiated official plan amendment. They are looking at their west end of town for development opportunities. There's a significant amount of those lands in the town of Grover that are owned by the town, so they're trying to decide to come up with a secondary plan and look at the whole area and come up with an idea of how that property in combination with some of the other private properties in the area, how it could be developed comprehensively and what would be a good development concept for those lands in the future. So this plan amendment implemented the town's vision for those lands in the future, creates that policy framework that will guide the future development on those lands. Information item number 3 is a subdivision update with regards to Granite Village, and this is from the township of Greater Madawaska. This subdivision was draft approved, and so that means this developer will now have 3 years to meet their conditions of approval to move forward to final approval. And it's actually 2 separate subdivisions on either side of the Norton Road. And the overall impact of this is the creation of 52 additional lots that hopefully will be seeing building some new residential uses located in that township. Information item number 4 is an update on zoning bylaw projects. So we have been working with local township on updating their comprehensive zoning bylaws and the Planning Act. Once a official plan is reviewed under section 26 or a comprehensive update to an official plan is done, municipalities then have 3 years to make sure their zoning bylaws are form of that updated plan. So we've been working with local townships and to get that done. So actually tonight, Kilway Richards, we have our public meeting scheduled for tonight. So after this meeting will be myself and some members of our team are going to be going to Kilway Richards for that public meeting. North of our Wilberforce, we completed the draft text and the mapping, and where that's been provided to the township staff, and they are reviewing that information. And once we have a draft that staff is satisfied with, then we'll be bringing that forward to start talking to council and that project forward. At Claire and Mariah, we have the draft of the text is complete, and we are working on the mapping, and soon we'll be reaching out again to the township staff to work with them on that initial review before moving forward to speak with council. And Merchant Hills will also start, this one's a little bit further behind, we're working on the draft text mapping, and again, once that's draft is complete, then we'll be reaching out to staff down to we can discuss that project. Information item number 5, digital raster acquisition project for Eastern Ontario, or also known as DRAPE. This essentially is our air photography that we get, and we partner with other with the province and other Eastern Ontario municipalities. And this is to acquire the air photography. We do this around every 4 years, give or take, given budgets and other factors. So it gets flown, and we use this information. It's very useful. We use it for all sorts of services. So whether it's emergency response planning, econ development, forestry, or public works, there's a wide range of use that we use this air photography for. And we also put both the current the 2014 and the 2020 air photography is available on our county of Renfrew GIS software website that's available for both any local municipalities to use and see, or members of the public as well as there for free use. People can take a look at it. And so the next version of that we're getting prepared, and it's estimated that it's going to cost approximately $5.50 for a square kilometer of the pictures, roughly a total cost of approximately $35,000. So we're still working with the provincial team who's undertaking this project, and we will probably include a budget item for council's consideration on the upcoming budget for that amount to stay in that project. Information number 6 is an update with regards to the floodplain hazard mapping project they are undergoing. So the county did issue an RFP, and I was successfully awarded to a company called High Tech Geomorphic. They're out of Guelph to undertake this project for us. This is the first phase of the project, and the federal government through the province has given us a 50% grant for the cost. So we're working with both the federal government and the provincial government on this. The county is covering 50% of the remaining 50%, and then the remainder portion being shared between the local municipalities. As you can see, we included the contribution. There have been a couple of municipalities that have not declined to participate, and so we're still continuing to work with local municipalities for figuring out how to cost share that last additional cost, but we are moving forward and we are excited for the completion of that project. And that chair concludes the report. Thank you.
Excuse me, thank you, Mr. Howard. Then we will go back to information item number 1. The Penalty River official plan amendment number 4. Questions? In none, the Town of Deep River official plan amendment number 5. No questions. Item number 3 is the Granite Village subdivision approval. Item number 4 is the zoning projects update. Item number 5 is the digital raster acquisition project for Eastern Ontario, or known as GRID, for 2024. Finally, item number 6 is the floodplain hazard mapping project. Word.
Curious, this information, will it be utilized or incorporated by the province, and will we have an ongoing responsibility to provide and maintain their update? So I understand the utility of it for us in terms of emergency planning and just planning in the future, especially with climate change and things like that. So just a little, no qualms with accepting accepting the proposal. Just curious about the long range implications, both financially or the expectations will be best upon there.
Through you, Chair. Yeah, so the future steps are unknown right now. So if you're looking at the report, you can see this is just phase 1, and there's 4 different reports that are proposed during phase 1. And the very last one is priority setting and future scope report. So right now, through this phase 1 is primarily a data gathering exercise and understanding who has what data and what can we use it for. And we're trying to limit the future cost of modeling the river. So people already have like some bathymetric information or other modeling information that we can use and tap into to share that data. That obviously saves future costs in the long run. So right now, that's primarily what the consultant is doing, is reaching out to a bunch of contacts and obtaining as much information as possible, depending on what they find, what data they get, and where those gaps are. They will make a recommendation on what could the future steps be, whether we need to do actual modeling or do we have information that we just forward with improved mapping based on some of the LiDAR that's not already been flown. So the future cost, I'll say, is unknown at this time, and that's what a lot of this phase 1 is going to inform. So what are we missing? What do we need to do in the future, and how much is it going to cost? As mentioned before, the province and federal governments, they are working on this, providing funding. And they're going to be, as of right now, looking future support for the future projects that are phases as well. Our current mapping, and then we'll get James, I believe our FGRT mapping that we have for certain municipalities, not for every municipality they have all participated, was from the 70s, roughly. So there's not a lot of ongoing maintenance of this information, but as we see the increasing frequency of these events, and sometimes a higher volume of these events that were previously unheard of, there may be additional costs. It's unknown, but current data hasn't been updated since the 70s, and there hasn't been any cost to us since that time of updating the mapping budget. All that to say, it's unknown.
Okay, thank you, and as I said, I appreciate the utility of it, and I was just curious about what I meant, and it was like something that's unknown. We'll deal with it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Through you, Chair. Just to give myself a bit of education and background on this, when was this initiated to take this process on, and how was it determined which municipalities are listed in and which are not?
Through you, Chair. So this process initially was because the federal government through the flood. I was making a mistake on the acronym, but through the floodplain hazard identification program, they provided some funding for grants that we applied to, and we were successful. I believe that was last year that we that this opportunity became available. The way that we chose the locations is that the province had previously flown certain areas for LiDAR, which is it's not near photography, but it scans, it comes up with contour or elevation and depth for land just by flying over it, and they've given us that data for free. So we were trying to use that tool by identifying where the floodplain mapping is, and then by using the free data that we already have is how we came up with the municipalities that could benefit from it. So in areas that have not been flown with LiDAR, or the creeks and the rivers that have not been flown with LiDAR, those have been excluded from this project.
Yeah, supplemental, just thank you through you, Chair, just thank you, because I noticed like a great amount of Oscar wasn't on it, and that's dated prior to me stepping in as in my role there, so I just wanted to get some clarity around the thank you.
And it wasn't because you're giving favoritism, so you're giving there. And I just had a question, the two municipalities, KHR and the province of Pinpoint, that certainly are a big part of the Wilshire Water Management Plan. I'm surprised that have they not provided any comment? They just haven't responded, or have they had reasons why they are choosing not to participate?
You share, we have not heard from the Algonquins. As you can see from the chart, their proportion fairly insignificant, so not too concerned with that. Something I'm sure the county can cover with regards to that. With regards to Kilday Richards, the reasons why I have to do that to their council, but we did receive an official letter from them indicate that they did not want to participate in the program.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yeah, sorry. Councilor from Harper.
Thank you, Chair. In that we're part of the program for phase one, with the unknown coming for phase 2, 3, 4, and 5, if there's financial implications, and I'm assuming we'll apply for grants and do the same process. At that opportunity, if Farnborough doesn't want to be part of it anymore, can we just say thank you for your time?
Chair, I think that will be up for discussion, absolutely, for future phases. First, we'll have to see what that initial report comes out. What's the results of phase 4 and what does it look like? And then we'll reach out again to our electrical partners and have that discussion about, do we want to proceed to phase 2, 3, or future steps, or do we leave it as it is? So there'll be future conversations, and I'm sure that will be worked out in the future to who can opt out, or if there is opting out, or we even as a county want to move forward in future phases.
Thank you, Chair. I guess my concern, which is, once all 5 steps have been taken, with the knowledge that the federal have, or the provincial have, or the county has, saying your floodplain is this, you cannot do this anymore, and you'll have to install a wall, forcing the municipalities to spend money to prevent the flooding. And that's where the costing comes into my municipality, I think. So that's where my fear is, that the information you're going to receive is going to be a penalty to us to ensure that this floodplain is in effect. That you're not going to have a flood, or it's going to be no mitigation at all. Something confusing. This is going to cost us money.
Possibly. So whenever we're doing any of these studies, we're trying to get as much inaccurate data as possible. So I know that some more floods are becoming more, again, increasing in their severity, both in volume of water and the height of the water that it's reaching, and the impact it's having on our communities. And everybody along the Ottawa River, like the Washer and the Madawaska, where 2017, 2019 floods, and again this past year, understands that there is a significant public cost to when these floods occur, both municipalities, both to provincial level. Insurance companies are also very cognizant of it, and so having information and good data to inform future decisions, I think that's probably a good thing, and anything that we can do to prevent and fight against, or whatever we do to prevent against the impacts that the flood is going to have, I think is a positive step. What those costs are, again, I understand that, yes, there'll be most likely cost to municipalities, there's going to be a cost to the private developers, and there's cost to the province ultimately as well. But I think having good data and more accurate data, you know, may assist us in the future decision making.
Thank you, Gordon.
Still sounds strange, but I sit on the board of Renfrew Power Generation and with the Bonjour River Management Plan, Water Management Plan. And I'm assuming that Ottawa River Power probably has some kind of a management plan, and Hydro One or OPG as well. Are they my board members, a lot of this, but are they considered as funding partners given the propensity for most of the larger water courses in our county and within the Madawaska River area, the Tony area of the Ottawa River? They do tend to cause the most of the floods, those systems in our communities. And so I'm curious if they're being approached for data and or financial contribution.
In future, so they have not been approached for funding, but they have definitely been approached for data. So our consultant has been provided all their contact information, and they're could be one of the, hopefully a key partner in obtaining data that will keep our, you know, that we can rely on to make to figure this out for all the communities.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, then I'm going to move to seconder to adopt the report as a whole. Moved by York, seconded by Councilor from Armbrier. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried. Is there any new business? Yes, Councilor from Val.
I'd just like to share that in Halloween spirit, October 21, 22, 27, 28, a 1.5 kilometer Halloween hunt walk is going to be available at the Awesome Fraser Recreation Trail, the skating trail. And as you walk through the bush, you might be frightened a little bit by somebody jumping out from behind a tree or whatever. And there's a few stages as you go through. And there's going to be a magician in there doing a couple different scenarios as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other items under any business? Seeing none, then we will need to move into close to the. No, I said, oh, good. We will need to move into close to discuss the security of the property of the municipality regarding the Renfrew County Housing Corporation update. And I'll need a second, please. Moved by Councilor from McDowell Bayside, seconded by Councilor from Orange Valley. All in favor?
Just yeah, please continue with the vote. I'll have one kind of statement when you're done the vote.
Okay, sorry. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you, Chair. So just because the closed item is just for information and technology here we may not come out of closed in the virtual world, but just to let the viewing audience know that we'll continue off after the closed session, and it may not be recorded though. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Full wire. How I use that.